They said getting started was the hardest part, but no one told you how hard it is to scale a custom service business. It's time for your team to step up, but your clients want you. Discover how to scale to 7 figures and beyond by freeing up time and getting your team to run whole parts of the company so you can focus on scaling profits. This is the Hands Off CEO with Mandy Ellefson.
Hi, this is Mandy Ellefson, host of the Hands Off CEO podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about where to focus in 2021 to really ramp up client acquisition in your consulting company. And what we're going to be talking about today is actually like the simplest path to be able to generate more growth without making things complex and without really having to slow yourself down with all of these tactics that you will hear all over the web that you need to be using in order to grow your company. So a number of years back, at an early iteration of Hands Off CEO, we had this whole funnel put together. I had spent an enormous amount of time putting together this Facebook funnel. Leads were flowing in. My calendar was packed with appointments. Here I was, totally overwhelmed with all of these leads. I was going through all of these sales calls and they were not the right people. The price point was a lot lower. And in general, I was so stressed out. And I get on the phone with this woman for this second sales call that we had later on that day. She was about ready to join the program. And I called her the wrong name. It was so incredibly embarrassing. And really, I was worn down making mistakes. And really, this was at an all-time low in the business where things were actually working. They were working, but they weren't really working. It wasn't sustainable. We were cycling through this cash, but seeing traction, but we were just on this treadmill. And what was wrong is that the foundations were wrong for the business, for our offer. There were foundations of the wrong. We were serving the wrong market, and we didn't have that really clear messaging, that really clear foundations for where we were growing the company. So we were attracting all the wrong type of people, and I was just wearing myself out on this treadmill. So I have nothing against funnels. I think they're really valuable, but this is an example of what can happen when you don't have the foundations in place. You can actually be losing money because you're building up this funnel and it's not fine-tuned enough. So here's what I recommend that you do instead. So first, start direct, start simple. The problem with these complex funnels, they take a lot of resources. And, at that stage of my company, I didn't have the resources to actually do it well. It can definitely have been successful, but through our testing, there was a number of things that we needed to have done in order for that funnel to be working. And the thing is that you'll hear all these gurus around the internet pushing these complex funnels. And the reason why is because they're selling the software to have those funnels. They are selling agency services to be able to, that you actually are required to put in that level of complexity, right? To implement that level of complexity. And it's really making sure that you are doing that step of scaling your marketing and your sales at the time that's actually appropriate in your business. So really the best thing to do is actually to be focusing on something that's more on a strategy that's a lot simpler, more direct, more efficient, and that you're just very targeted in who you're reaching out to, and that you're selling at a price point. What we look at with our clients is at least doubling their retainers, in many cases tripling or quadrupling their retainers. And when you're working with those type of clients, you don't need nearly as many leads. And then it allows you to be able to get the next few clients to get to a point where you actually have the resources to be building out the team, to be building out the systems, to be able to increase the capacity for more. Because here's the challenge: is like how much more capacity do you have? You actually have the capacity to have one of these big Herkin funnels that are going to generate all this traffic? No, you don't. So don't try to get all that fine-tuned in place until you actually are at a place where you could put experts on that, right? Don't try to be having to figure that all on yourself. You figure out the foundations. You get the foundations right of who's the one client you're working with. What is the biggest problem that you're solving for them, and what is the biggest outcome? When you get those things aligned, that's the foundations. When you're able to start charging what you're really worth, the real top value for your services, then you can actually pull in those experts that can help you expand that as well. So really, it's getting the foundations in place, building out more capacity, more team to actually help you deliver that, And that way you actually have the sustainable business that can keep growing. So when you do that, then you can continue scaling. Then you can be even building out, getting the marketing more hands off, then getting the selling more hands off. And once you have that in place, that's where you have the sustainable business that can run without you first, run without you, and then grow without you second. And that is what you should be focusing on, or what you could focus on to be able to ramp up client acquisition in your consulting company and make the biggest progress in your business in 2021. If you were listening to this and saying, wow, I'd like to hear a little more about this and see what that whole framework is for how to be able to sustainably scale your consulting company to $100,000 per month and then $100,000 per month in profit, and do it in a way that it actually can run without you, whole parts of your business can run and grow without you, then I invite you to come onto our next executive briefing. So we do an executive briefing every week, just a small handful of people that come in there. And it's really an opportunity to get coached by me, ask any question around scaling your business that you would like to. And I'm going to actually share with you our 5-step scale to freedom system. And I'll touch more on, how do you build that offer that you can actually double your retainer with? We'll actually share how to do that. You can go and reserve a spot at handsoffceo.com/RSVP. Currently, it is complimentary, but there's been so much demand for it, we might actually start charging for it. So if you're interested, jump on right now, and I can't wait to meet you if you decide to take us up on the offer. All right, this is Mandy Ellefson, host of Hands Off CEO podcast, signing off.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Hands Off CEO with Mandy Ellefson. If you want to work less and make more, make sure you subscribe and get a new episode every week, and help spread the word by leaving a review.